I'm sure some.
Call to order the City Council meeting of January 20th, 2016. Lord, create in us a clean heart and a right spirit to honor you and to serve the people of Mission. In your name, Jesus. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Martha, would you please call roll?
Yes. Cowdery?
Here.
Gibbs? Here. Crane?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Quinn?
Here.
Rothrock?
Here.
Shepherd?
Here.
Vaughn?
Here.
Thank you.
We have Commissioner Shaffer with us tonight to provide an update on Johnson County government. Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Council, for allowing me to participate in your very important meeting this evening. I know you have a lot of things to discuss here just as soon as I leave, and I know you want to get rid of me as soon as you can to make the big decisions, okay? So I'll keep my comments brief, and I'll try and keep them as short as I can. If I see anybody start playing with their phone, I'll leave, okay? So please acknowledge that. As I make my presentation, I believe you already have your packet, the informational packet that will be shared on the screen. If there's any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. But remember, if you do, that'll make my presentation longer, okay? So we'll move ahead. You may remember, some of you remember Commissioner Peterson, my predecessor. He came to our council meetings all the time that he was our commissioner, and I promised I would keep that tradition up, so I finally get a chance to visit with your council this evening. You are the final council. I visited all the other 9 councils, and so you're my final one tonight. So it's a celebration for you and a celebration for me, okay? So we'll move forward. We'll go to slide number 1. During the campaign, many people asked me, what does a county commissioner do? Well, you're mayor now, and how does that compare to being a county commissioner? Well, I found out, and this is what we do. This is what we're in charge of and what we're responsible for. 575,000 residents, 40 offices, 32 departments, and all those other items that you see there. It's been a learning experience all along, and I guess I didn't realize it was this much you had to be involved with, but it's very important to me and very important to the county as well. When you look at all the things that we provide our citizens, it's really amazing. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Our most important thing that I believe in, we and I try to make it easier for our cities to continue to succeed. And if there's anything we can do for you, any way we can, please let us know. and we'll do the best we can to keep Mission a better place to live. Next slide, number 2. You all are familiar with the League of Kansas Municipalities, National League of Cities. I'm no longer a member of those organizations anymore. I've moved on to NACO, National Association of Counties. I've attended one conference already. There'll be another one coming up next month. You'll see up in the upper right-hand corner, you can't see it on the screen, the 3,069. There are 3,069 counties in the United States. Very few of them have a population over 500,000, of which we do. And that gives us special privileges, if you will, special accessibility and specialty, because Johnson County is very important to NACO. And you all know it's one of the top counties in the United States, gauged along with other issues. We are well respected, so we're so well respected that Sally Clark, our current president, she's a friend of ours. She's a very good friend of Ed Eilert, Commissioner Eilert, and she's been to Johnson County twice, about the last 6 months, to see how we do things here, so she can spread it amongst all the other county members. There's some other information on there that shares with you what counties are responsible for. Cities have their responsibilities, counties have theirs, and we'd like to be a part of that as well. We'll go to slide number 4, budget history. This is the history of the last 10 years. You remember we had a recession the last few years. We kept our flat, this is all before I became a member of the commission. They kept the flat mill levy flat since 2006. They reduced operating expenditures by $46 million. They reduced positions by 428 individuals, and they eliminated merit increases for our employees the last 2009, 10, and 11. Interesting things that had to occur to allow us to keep our mill levy flat. The budget summary indicated on page 5 shows where we're at this year. This is a short synopsis of the 2016 budget. Our budget for the year is $928.7 million. That's quite a number. And of that, total expenditures will be $743 million, and we keep our reserves at 20 to 25%, which is about $185 million. I'll talk a little bit more about that, how important that is to us a little later on. We decided this year to increase our mill levy to 3.3 mills that you're all aware of, to address projected revenue shortfalls that we had to sustain this last 10 years, to build back some reserves that we've used to keep our mill levy flat, maintain our current service levels that our citizens and we expect, and meet the future growth needs of the county. 1.8 of that 3.3 goes to county services, the general day-to-day operations. 0.75 mills go to the Johnson County Parks and Rec, and 0.75 mills go to the library for their improvements. And you all know you've heard about those operations. Kansas mill levy comparisons on slide 6. You'll see the number 23.27. That was the mill levy in 2015. You'll see how it related to the other 4 large counties in Kansas. We're consistently the lowest mill levy rate of the large counties and also of all the other counties in Kansas. You go down to, you'll see the 2016 budget, our current mill levy is 26.570. And even with that increase of 3.3, we're still below the 4 other large counties in the state of Kansas. The next chart is the pie chart that are always part of your budget process. You'll see on the far right the number $328 million. That's the general operating budget that we spend day to day to keep our activities in operation. Circling around, you'll see all the other expenditures that we do on a daily and weekly basis. You'll see down the lower left, wastewater is our largest expense, $151.9 million. You'll see down in the right section the reserves at $185 million, which is a large piece of that pie, of course. And I mentioned earlier that we're so glad we still have the AAA rating. We were able to use that to our advantages within the last 3 weeks. We issued 30.5 million bonds, general obligation bonds for internal improvements to various departments for 20 years at 2.85%. That's why we elected AAA. At the same time, we refinanced 2 additional bonds, one for $25.5 million and one for $41.75 million. We reduced, those were 10-year bonds. We reduced the $25 million bond from 4.5% to 2.18, and we reduced the $41 million bond from 4.8 to 2.38 for 10 years. We saved the county $6.1 million just by refinancing those two sets of bonds. That's how important AAA is to us. Now, all three bond rated agencies gave us AAA. This is why they did it, and this is what they said. In spite of our state's economy, you heard about that today at lunch, some of the issues we're facing at the state, our reasonable, sound approach to the budget, our reserves stable at 20-25%, we're right about 20-21% now, and the positive attitude of the governing body and the management staff. And that's why they gave us a AAA rating again this year. You all know there's only 5 entities in the state of Kansas that are AAA rated: Johnson County, Gray Village, Leawood, the next one, Overland Park. That's why it's important to us. Next chart, number 9, shows how the 3.3 mil levy affects you and I. The number, the $261,000 in the middle of the top column, is the average assessed value of a Johnson County home. You'll follow that line down to the bottom, you'll see that breaks out. It's an increase of $8.26 a month. You'll see up in there where it says non-Olathe residents. The reason we put that in there because Olathe has their own library system, so Olathe citizens don't pay into the levy for the library, they pay into their own. So there's some deviation there. Our slide 10, the 1.8 mil that I mentioned earlier, a part of that, about 1.5 million of it, will go to planned transit expansions. This map indicates some of the transit expansions we plan to pursue the next few years. You need to be made aware that there is no JOCO anymore. JOCO merged with the Kansas City ATA. Kansas City, Kansas, Wyandotte County has done as well, so is Independence. And we celebrated that on the first effort first day of last week. We inaugurated a new line number 107, which it picks up people in front of KU Med Center, brings them home to Johnson County, brings them to Independence, and also to Kansas City, Kansas, spreads that out. That's a brand new line. We're very excited about that. If you look closely at some of the places we're planning to go to, you'll even see the new Cerner office park over there on 95th and 95th Street. So that's how far this extension is planned to go. We're just getting started now. You need to know that last year we merged, like I mentioned, and Commissioner Klicka is the chair of the KCAT board, and the Wyandotte, Johnson County, KCMO, and Independence are now part of this program. The next page, number 11, we talk about the library system. I know you're all aware, as well as the Parks and Rec. Both the departments instigated the master plan process last year and a half, and I know some of you participated in some of the public meetings, public hearings they had regarding the master plans for the library, and I want to thank you for doing so. This page indicates some of the principles that we plan to live by as they expand the library. Library gets 0.7, number 12. The library will receive the 0.75 mils. That will mean about $5.2 million to the library on a yearly basis. What they propose to do is modernize, build capacity, and at existing branches and new branches, and hopefully a new operations center. You see the 4 red dots up in the upper right-hand corner. Those indicate the libraries that are most important to us. The Antioch Library, the Cedar Road Library in Roland Park, the Corinth Library in Gray Village, and the Leawood Pioneer Library next to Leawood City Hall. They've committed to me that they're going to improve or rebuild those libraries. They're not going to close any of those 4 libraries now. And if you hear anything different from that, let me know, okay? But they've committed to me on that one, okay? The next page, number 13, talks about the Parks and Rec District. And again, another master plan that took about a year and a half. But again, thank you for participating in those events and those meetings. Again, their 0.75 mil will allow the Parks Department to spend $6.3 million here. And I'll keep moving quickly, I know we have a lot of things to take care of, okay? This normally takes about a half hour, 45 minutes, so we'll break that record, okay? Page 14, show park improvements that are planned for the next 15 years. You'll see Antioch Park up in the upper right-hand corner. That's the only park we currently have in our area, District 1, and they plan to improve that. That's going to be a nice addition and modifications there. You've been reading about Bull Creek Park and some of the other parks out west and south. They're going to be improved as well. There's a lot of activity. Go to slide 15 now. You'll see park openings, Bull Creek property. That's quite a large park down in the southwest corner. They're still trying 1,900 acres. They're trying to decide if they want to leave it natural and not touch it and just open it up, or try and make a real kids park out of it. That'll be a big deal. So watch out for that one. That's going to be interesting. But the most important thing for us is the Meadowbrook property. You see the star up in the upper right-hand corner. That will be a new park. That's going to be located in Prairie Village. You've been reading a lot about that this past year and a half or so. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This next map on 16 shows the improvements that are planned there. The park will comprise the green areas, if you will, and the lakes down the middle. Meadowbrook Park will be larger than Lewis Park, including the lakes. You'll see the plan for the housing development, the senior living center, the multi-story apartments, and single and combo homes. You'll see the middle lake, just to the right of the middle lake. There will be a boutique hotel there. That'll be our first hotel in Prairie Village. We're pretty excited about that. So, and it'll be a very small boutique hotel you can use for weddings and such as that. The upper portion, of course, is the park proper. The clubhouse will stay there. It'll be a new clubhouse, or they'll try and reinvent the new one. They have a lot of ADA issues there, and I don't know if they get around it without tearing that building down, but there will be a clubhouse there eventually. The parking lot will stay. We understand they'll probably take the swimming pool out. They'll add some more tennis courts and some pickleball courts as well in that corner up there. It's going to be quite an addition to the northeast portion of our county. Next slide, 17, shows the planned streamway trail developments. A great number of our citizens like to bike and hike, and we have natural trails all over the county, as you're aware, and they plan to put in another 30 miles of trails in the next 15 years. And so the bikers and hikers are very excited about that. Go to slide 18. We'll talk about the Arts and Heritage Center, i.e. King Louis. We had a groundbreaking ribbon cutting for that last week. Construction is in process. It's going to be great for us. I think you have to want to do it. But the ice skating rink will become the Johnson County Museum. Even the electric house that you see out at the Johnson County Park will be moved into the ice skating rink. I want to be there when they take that, and they said they're going to be able to take it, move it in one piece. I know about it because that house used to be on our street on Homestead Drive, and we were there when they took it out from where it's at and moved it out to Johnson County. They had to cut it in half to get it out there, so it'd be interesting to get that thing moved. And it'll happen on a Sunday. There'll be a lot of publicity when that occurs. The remainder of the facility will be used for black box theater. Summer in the park will now be all year long. There's going to be early voting area. It'll be a multi-use center, and also the Overland Park Historical Society will take a space inside this building as well. They're very excited about that. And remember, this project was made possible by the consolidation of the Parks Department and the Johnson County Museum to make this thing work. So now that is one entity now. Page 19. Out of all the strategies we decided to pursue this year, there are many. We decided we picked these four, which is enough for any elected group. Number one, promote self-sufficiency of the county's vulnerable populations. If you had a chance to go to the UCS breakfast 2 weeks ago on that Friday morning, their annual dinner breakfast, you'll remember that they said 36,000 of our citizens are at the poverty level. in Johnson County. That's 1 in 15 of us. And they define poverty as income under $20,000 for a family of 3. And so we're trying to find ways to the county to help those individuals, your neighbors who need that help. Item number 2, of course, is develop a strategic transportation plan for all modes of transportation. That, of course, is our bus system. And it's going to be Ride KC buses. You'll see no Joco anymore on the sides of the buses. And, excuse me, I visited with you about that a second ago. Number 3, conduct a comprehensive review of our sewer development policy, including renovation of Tomahawk Creek. That's the sewer waste plant right next to the Leewood soccer fields where all your kids used to play. That's going to be a big deal. I'll talk to you about in a second. And of course, the county courthouse number 4. This courthouse has needed to have been replaced or modified the last 10, 15 years. If you're familiar with it, it needs help, and I'll describe that in a second more. We'll take care of all the other things that need to be done. Now, next, slide 20. You're all familiar with the CARS program. That's where the county helps the cities who need some help fund their transportation issues. You'll see that this year, the northeast part of the county, my District 1, received $4.6 million out of Olive Johnson County of $15.95 million. This year, we received 29%. You don't see mission on here because this article in the Kansas Governing Magazine tells all about your project in renovating Johnson Drive. Nice article for you all, very nicely done. Now remember, in 2012, the city of Mission received $2.85 million from Johnson County CARS to assist you complete Johnson Drive. Received some money from the Federal Surface Transportation Program, STP, and also the reimbursement from Johnson County Wastewater contributed $345,000 to that project as well. So that's why you're not on this list this year, okay? But come back next year, we'll help you again if we can, okay? And if you hear anything,
We'll hold you to that.
I'm sorry?
We'll hold you to that.
Okay, thank you. I'll do what I can. If you hear any rumors that the government is trying to reduce the CARS program, let me know. I will maintain it as we can because it's important. It's very important to us up in this part of the county to be able to use that money to our benefit on the proper roads. 21, our future issues and our current issues this year, we're going to address the courthouse. It's under study as we speak. It needs to be replaced for any one number of reasons. It's failing in a number of areas. It lacks ADA compliance. We're waiting for a lawsuit to happen. Someone will get us in trouble sooner or later when somebody can't have proper access to the courtrooms or to the bench where it needs to visit with us. If you've ever been there, a lot of you have never been there, which is good. You don't want to be there.
Forward to the habits.
Yeah, okay. The inmates come across the street in the tunnel. They bring the inmates up the elevator. They take them to the courtrooms in a public hallway. We really don't want our inmates out in a public hallway interspersing with our citizens. If you're in a courtroom for a court date, you need to talk to your attorney in private. You can't go to a private room, right, Pete? You go out in the hallway and you discuss your issues with your client in the hallway in earshot of people that are sitting there next to you. That's not a good deal. And we need to increase our number of courtrooms to provide for increased use that we know is going to come. The new courthouse will have 28 courtrooms. I'm betting that if you're familiar with where the courthouse is now, there's going to be a new courthouse that's built across the street, right to the west of Olathe City Hall. When that is built, we'll tear down the existing courthouse and make that a plaza for the use of the Olathe citizens and all the county. It's going to be quite grand. That's the way that seems to be heading at this point in time. Tomahawk Creek Wastewater Treatment Facility. That is quite a deal. New wastewater regulations continue to come forward, but you need to be made aware that when they designed that thing 20, 30 years ago, it was designed that 40% of the waste would be sent to Missouri to be processed. We're going to try and that's the way it was agreed to do that way back when. We continue to do so. Our needs are increasing, and so we're probably going to rebuild it to keep it all on our property and not send it to Missouri anymore, because you know Missouri's in the process of taking care of their business, and they have issues they have to take care of, and we don't want to be subject to Missouri price fluctuations and raises that we know will be coming, so we'd rather take care of it ourselves. And of course, the last one, Kansas State legislative tax lid. We're going to do everything we can to get it rescinded. We think that'll be very difficult to do, if not impossible. But we'll try very diligently to not let them move the date forward to this year like they're going to try to do as well. So if you hear anything that we need to know about that, let us know. Our promise, Commissioner Peterson left this on my desk when he left. And these 4 bullet points are very important. Were very important to Ed and myself as well. And I want to thank him for leaving that for me to review and think about. And I have a copy of this out on the dais when I make my votes. And I believe in everything this says. And also, slide 23 completes that promise. You're all aware of Thomas Zacharias, who's our county manager. He instills in the staff and the employees the excellence of Johnson County, everything we do to try and make Johnson County a better place for our citizens. And we're going to continue to try and make and keep Johnson County a community of choice and a community of opportunity. So everything I can do for you tonight, in the future, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If I can't answer them, I'll get you an answer. But the most important thing is anything I can do for you in the future, we can do for you in the future, let us know. We'll help you out as best we can. If we can't help you, we'll tell you why. But we'll always get you an answer. Questions, please. Susie, you always have one. Dave? Okay?
It's good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Yes, please go ahead.
I got a quick one. That Tomahawk Creek wastewater treatment
Yes.
facility, when do they anticipate that going online or being done out there?
It's a big ticket item.
Right.
Multi-year. So I have it to be within 5 years. But we're going to probably get some direction and decide how we're going to pursue it this year. But we have to design it and build it. So it's going to be a 5 to 10 year deal. It's way down the road, but we have to do it. Yes.
What's the cost of the courthouse, the new courthouse?
Hang on. We think, I have a number here. I don't like to throw out numbers unless I have information. I think I wrote it down here, just in case people ask. If I don't have it, I have it out in the lobby, okay, but I think it's going to be in, I'm not going to say. There we go. 185 million. That's our guess today. 8 or 9 story building, 28 courtrooms, all the things that go with it. And we may also include a morgue in that process. We don't have a morgue in Johnson County. We ship our citizens to Wyandotte County, so I think we're going to be heading to a new morgue as well. Thank you.
Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we'll get back to the real stuff, okay? Appreciate all your time. It's my pleasure to be a part of this.
Well, thank you. We do not have any notes or bonds on our agenda this evening. However, our consent agenda has 7 items tonight. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I move the City Council adopt the consent agenda as printed, items 3A through 3G. Second.
Please call roll.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Crane,
Aye.
Cowdery,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Gibbs,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Shepherd.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
If you have any questions regarding our community committees, you may ask staff or bring this up on new business. Now for public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda this evening. Next, an action item coming from the Planning Commission. Tonight we have the Gateway Preliminary Site Plan, which was remanded back to the Planning Commission by Council. The Planning Commission reconsidered this item at their December 28th meeting and is now back before us tonight. Ms. Smith, will you provide us with an update?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Just briefly, for those in the audience who may not be all that familiar with the progress, for the status of this project, originally this came to the council at your October meeting. It was tabled at that time until you could conduct a work session with the developer, which did occur in early November. Came back to you for consideration at your November 18th meeting, and at that time it was remanded back to the Planning Commission for consideration of a very specific question, and that question was, for the Planning Commission was asked to reconsider the exception given from the requirements for a discount superstore in an MXD zone. Specifically, the Planning Commission should consider whether or not the proposed discount superstore meets the overall intent of MXD zoning. That item did go back to the Planning Commission at their December 28th meeting. You have that packet was included this evening along with the draft of the minutes from the December 28th meeting for your review. At that meeting, the Planning Commission did find and vote 7-1 to recommend approval of the Gateway revised preliminary site plan with the 27 conditions that were recommended by the Planning Commission, as well as the addition of the 28th condition that was suggested by the City Council at your October meeting. I'm available. The developer is here this evening, as is Mr. Pete Heaven, the city's land use attorney. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you.
Mayor, I move the City Council approve case number 15-10, revised preliminary site plan for the Gateway project, with the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission, as well as a 28th condition as follows. No construction or building permits will be issued until construction phasing is agreed to by the city and the developer in an approved development agreement.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Do we have any intent of hearing from the public on this?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, if the public wants to come up to speak, come up to the podium, say your name and address for the record, and probably should put a two-minute limit on your comments. Or thereabouts. Sticklers.
I'm Charles Cassius. I live at 5501 West 61st Terrace and have for the last 10 years driven by a vacant lot, as you all have. Initially, I was not in favor of the Walmart project. I thought there was, better solutions. But after watching the development, sitting back and seeing it, I very much support the project moving forward with Walmart. I just thought that was important for him to say to you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andy Sandler. I live at 6339 Beverly. I have also driven by that vacant lot for the past 10 years. And I think it's worth considering that if you look at it from another standpoint, let's just say we all went out and decided we wanted to order a pizza. And somebody said, I'll be happy to get the pizza for you. I'll get you the best darn pizza you could possibly imagine. And he goes out and he comes back and he's got his arms full and he says, I brought you flounder. It's not a pizza, is it? Well, it's the next best thing. It'll be okay. No problem, right? So let's go ahead and do it. It's a flounder. It's a rotting fish. It stinks. And that's exactly what happened. I'm not saying he did this intentionally. I'm not even saying that there's some sort of bait and switch going on. What I'm saying is that over 10 years, he's had plan A, it didn't work out. He's had plan B, it didn't work out. He's had plan C, it didn't work out. He's gone from a pizza to a flounder, to pig's knuckles, to pig's ears. What else is he going to come up with? And we still haven't got our pizza. And there's plenty of pizza out there. We can go ahead and have it. It's what we wanted. It's what we're willing to pay for. We're not willing to pay for flounder. And that's what we've got going on here. I think we can do a heck of a lot better than that, and frankly, I'm willing to continue driving past that lot until somebody comes up with a decent plan, and if he can't do it, he's had plenty of opportunity. It's time to end this once and for all and hand it over to somebody who actually has a decent vision and can execute it, and something we'll be proud of over the next few years. We can't afford to do this. Thank you very much.
Hi, I am Michael Staley, 3701 Shawnee Mission Parkway. My biggest concern is the flooding on the Rock Creek corridor, and I'm afraid that even though that lot has been vacant for 10 years or more, that they're somehow grandfathering in as if it was paved over as the Mission Mall. I want some assurance that there will be floodwater retention based on it being permeable ground 100% as it's been for the past 10 years, because we're suffering enough downstream as it is. And the second thing I wanted to bring up was, based on the demographics of the area, I still don't understand why we need to bring in a retailer such as Walmart when there's already one substantially close to there. I think that what's happening is you're alienating two of your good neighbors by doing that, and I don't want to see that move in so close to where I live. I can go to Walmart as it is now in the neighborhood market very conveniently, and I would think that there would be a lot of higher end retail opportunities available for that developer, and I wish that would have been pursued. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Any other comments?
I'm Barb Poro, 4982 West 60th Terrace. I live right near that section, and I'm concerned about two things: the traffic that's going to occur on Roland Drive. Roland Drive is always pictured on all of these as a straight line. It's not a straight line; it curves. And on my street, it's particularly hard to see going the cars coming from the north to the south, and certainly a lot of traffic is going to be routed down that road since there's no access to the mall on Shawnee Mission Parkway, or even road, unless you come from the north, which everybody knows. But my second concern is about all that we've done to make Johnson Drive into what it is now, and it just doesn't seem that Walmart is the picture of that. It doesn't picture with all the community things that we've done and the streetscaping that we've done. It just doesn't seem to fit. And of course, everybody's concerned that when Walmart comes along, all the other little businesses tend to go away. That's my concern.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Ken Davis. I'm the Countryside Homes Association president. I live at 5808 West 61st Terrace. I am not speaking on behalf of the Countryside Homes Association. I would like to speak personally that I have conducted a poll of my community, and 85% of the community is against having a Walmart. So that is basically reporting the way in which the community feels about this particular choice. I realize that this is a planning process, and I realize that the landowner has the right to come forward with their proposal and to see whether it meets your planning commission's requirements. I have had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Tom Valenti, along with some other concerned citizens, and he was very responsive to the concerns that were expressed. He indicated to us that the Walmart is really required in order to fund this project or make it viable. I do understand that the Walmart in Rowan Park is being closed anyway, so that's something that has already been planned, and so that Walmart is going to be relocated. His responsiveness to the walk, or the other option, there were several options that were brought up. One was a suggestion of a library branch on the second level, which was not feasible. The library is not really considering that. And there were some other suggestions, an indoor soccer field that could be used. But this one proposal that was brought forward was actually one of the suggestions from one of the neighbors in the community. So to that end, he was responsive. So I'm not going to take a position one way or another. I'm just reporting to you what the sentiment of my community is, and that 85% do not find it very distasteful to have the price, the Walmart there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Anyone on council?
So I think one of the things is we've got, first thing I've got through this process that's been really important to do is to separate Walmart from a planning commission rule of a piece of property and the plan set forth. So my thought process is you have to separate those two, because as a city, really can't say that we don't want that business. That's discrimination from a business category. So we have to look at it, does that meet, that's the question set forth in my mind tonight, is does the plan set forth meet the zoning requirements set by our city and the planning commission that Mr. Valenti has put forward? That's a thought process we have to enter. Walmart really is a secondary note to that. So the vote tonight really is focused in on, should be focused in on, does the plan meet the requirements set forth?
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
If I could, I'd like to agree with my Ward 1 counterpart here. Gosh, I hate it when that happens. But, you know, we are here, and let me be perfectly honest with you tonight. We are here to talk about the plan, and if this plan didn't have any store names on it at all, we'd be voting on the exact same thing. So I don't want people to get all caught up in Walmart. I believe, and I hope you do too, in the free enterprise system. And if this city wanted a different kind of a development there, we could have, past councils could have put in ordinances and rules that made it impossible for that type of a store to go in there. We didn't. And that's why we have a Target at one end of the city, and now we're going to have, if this passes and goes through, possibly another big box store at the other end of the city. The people will decide by the way they spend their money whether the store succeeds or doesn't succeed, and whether Walmart stays in town or doesn't stay in town. If Bloomingdale's moved into that space instead of Walmart, and then didn't make it after 2 years and moved out, a Walmart or Target or anybody else could move in there. I wouldn't want the people to ask the council to vote down a project because they didn't want a Hartman Hardware moving into the neighborhood. Your personal feelings on Walmart should have nothing to do with our vote on this plan tonight. So I can appreciate everybody's opinions, but you know, what I've heard so far is just anti-Walmart rhetoric, and that's not really what we're here to vote on. So that's my opinion.
Thank you. Yes, Dave.
I agree with Jason and Pat that tonight's conversation and vote is absolutely about zoning, and it is about land use. And you know, our zoning is pretty clear that we ought to have a development there that is vertically organized and not horizontally organized. We ought to have a development there that is a sense of place. we ought to have a development that doesn't contain a floor print that is over 50,000 square feet. So in my opinion, I think we have done a good job with what our MXD zoning says and what it does require. And I don't think the proposed plan meets that threshold, because I think we are clear. We want it to be organized vertically. We want it to be a sense of place. And we are not interested in 155,000 square foot dominant retail floor plate in that area. I know the Planning Commission has reviewed this twice, and with all due respect, they play an important role, particularly as it relates to weeding out those, what I would call egregious things that may come forward. But in the end, it is the City Council that makes the policy. We take those recommendations into consideration when we make our decisions, but in the end, the 9 chairs up here make policy, we don't make recommendations. It is my strong belief, and this should not come as a surprise to anyone, because the plan that is in front of us tonight is essentially the same plan that was presented to us in October. There may be some other amenities, and the status of those other amenities that have been discussed, including a green roof. I'm curious as to where they are in the conversation, because it certainly was reported as those things were those things would be part of the final proposed plan. And I'm not naive to think that that did not factor into people's decision making as they reviewed this, regardless of if it was mentioned in word or not. So again, it should not come as a surprise to anybody, but I continue to believe that the current proposed project plan does not meet with the MXD zoning, and I won't be supporting it. And I will say this, I'm wrapping my time up here. I will be off this council in April. I've spent better part of a decade working really hard to try to help Tom Valenti and his partners put a development down there on 3 different occasions. This one I just can't get behind, because I don't think it meets the spirit of our MXD zoning, and it's not what over 80-85% of the constituents that I represent want for their community. We can do better. It doesn't meet with our vision, and I will not be supporting it.
Thank you. Yes.
I have to say I am excited about it because it was so cool. The planning it's prettier than Prairie Fire or Zona Rose.
Oh.
It was really interesting as far as color, as far as I just loved it. I thought it was it spoke to my heart as far as what you did on paper. I don't think Walmart or no Walmart. It passed the Planning and Zoning Commission twice. They think it met the MXD codes. I wasn't on the city council when we wrote those codes. I wasn't on the city council when we spent $17 million to remediate the floodplain on the east end of Mission, which city's been paying for all these years. That was supposed to be paid off by this project. This is the most mission friendly. It's not an 18-story apartment building. It's a 3-story apartment building. There are some things that really fit in nicely with Mission. So I can be excited about those things, but I have to back something that fits our codes that this city council voted on and wrote, because that's only fair to a developer once he's passed those hoops and jumped in those hoops and tried not to change the game on him at the end, because some people don't like Walmart. A lot of people don't like Walmart, and you don't need to shop at Walmart. A lot of people shop at Walmart, and that's fine. That is your choice. But as far as the fairness and passing the commission twice, and I have had positive things that my neighbors have said. And I've had several people call me, my constituents, and say, we're tired of the blight. It's time to get something done. They shop at Walmart. They have no problem with Walmart. And so it's 50-50 on the Walmart, but this is not about Walmart. This is about the process that a city goes through on any development.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think the tenet behind this, the last comment is, I was excited. I was the most excited of anybody who's in this room to see an aquarium, to see diversity, to see small boutiques, to see restaurants, to see everything that this small city stands for. I don't have anything against Walmart, and I'll never say I have anything. I don't. But Walmart has become the driver in this process, and it's lost the whole spirit of what this city stands for. It's nothing against the developer. He has a business. We have a business. We are different than the Planning Commission. They are set forth by plans and rules, and we have to abide by them to a point. The decisions come to this body. So like it, don't like it, it's us. The bottom line is here. This has gone full swing in the last 10 years. The development has changed wholeheartedly in the last 3 revisions. And it's going more toward, I'm not really sure at this point, now I'm kind of speaking out of turn, that Walmart doesn't own the whole thing now. I don't know that. I can't prove any differently. But it has definitely become the driver. And the whole process is focused around Walmart. I don't think anybody had anything against Walmart if it was small, if it was neighborhood related. But it's not. It's become the entire process now. And that's a concern for me. And my colleague and I, we respect each other, but we will be voting differently on this. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I completely agree with Councilmember Shaffer. And the years ago, again, I wasn't on the council at the time, the community did speak up, and the community spoke wholeheartedly against a retailer that is any larger than 50,000 square feet. I would challenge that we're making this about a Walmart when if it was a Bloomingdale's, if it was Nordstrom, if it was Macy's, if it was IKEA, I think people would have the same concern. We have to think about the long-term use of the property and the sustainability of it. Putting a single-story building that is going to take a significant portion of this property up and looking at the potential longevity of that retailer in that space is, I think, we have got to think about that. And we have to think about, no matter who it is, Walmart, anybody. So I really challenge, this is not about a Walmart. If it was a fancy retailer, if it was an IKEA, we would still be challenging those philosophies and challenging that development, as we should, based on the ordinances that were passed, based on the community's desire that would not have a retailer that is that large, that single story. So I think it's for the greater good of the city that we really sit back and we look at what is the sustainability, what is the long-term use of that property, and what developments we look at. I think that that's extremely important. I think that that is what this vote is about, regardless of what people think about a retailer. I disagree with Councilmember Quinn when he said if we put in a Walmart and people don't shop there, then we'll know. Shame on us if that's what happens, because this is a lot of money that goes into place, and to allow the citizens to speak out after the fact is short-sighted and not what we are put up here to do.
Okay, thank you. I take exception to that, because I'm just talking about the free market system, and people shop where they want to shop. Businesses succeed and fail all the time, and that's the way it works. I think Walmart has a pretty good record as a business, and I think they know, or have a good idea anyway, where they can succeed and where they can't. But that's up to them. We don't own the property. We don't decide who we rent it to or whatever else. Tom is developing the property. He's presented a plan that the Planning Commission has twice, once unanimously and the last time overwhelmingly, voted in support of. And I tend to agree with them, and that's all we're talking about. I'm not talking about any kind of store, or I don't know where you came up with the last comment.
Well, I appreciate everybody's comments. But it does come down to our planning commission, our codes. And we appointed these planning commission people to do their job. They're professionals. They've deemed it, that it fits our codes. And I trust our planning commission. So this is just one portion of this development. It's a long ways from happening. But the vote tonight is whether it fits our codes that the planning commission says it has. So if there's no other comments, we will call the question. Yes?
And I'd like to hear from Mr. Valenti too. Could we ask him to come up and answer any of the questions that were asked here tonight?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Pleased to be here tonight. As Mr. Quinn said earlier, the Planning Commission unanimously approved this in September. It was a 7-0 vote at the time. One of the planning commissioners was absent. One of the planning commissioners abstained at that time. And then on December 28th, the Planning Commission voted 7-1 in favor of the plan as meeting the MXD zone. You have requirements in your zoning code for a certain percentage of the property project, the buildings, to be on multiple levels. We exceed those requirements. And as I've said on a number of occasions, even if we do not have the office building, we still exceed those requirements. The plan that was approved in 2012 and 2013 by the City Council contained 155,000 square foot footprint on that same location where the Walmart is now located. It was multiple levels with a level of retail above Walmart. Same size footprint, nothing changed. We were unable to get retailers to go above Walmart sufficiently to make the project feasible and financeable. One of the comments that was made earlier about asking for a pizza and delivering a flounder, I thought was pretty inappropriate. This is a mixed-use project. We have hired an exceptional architectural firm to develop this project. The project contains, in addition to the Walmart, 60 to 70,000 square feet of retail and restaurants. It contains 182 apartments, and it contains a 200-room hotel. I think that there is a great diversity of use. Without question, we exceed the verticality that's required by the MXD zone. Without question, we exceed the diversity of uses. Whether there's I read the code, I think it's section 405.202 when it defines a discount superstore. And then I read the sections with respect to MXD zoning. Quite frankly, I don't see where there is any requirement or prohibition against a footprint that's greater than 50,000 square feet. And I defy anybody to read it differently. It doesn't say that. So I respectfully disagree. Over the years, I've appreciated Councilman Shepherd's support of the project, but I really don't think that this project is all that different from the project that he supported in 2013. I respectfully request that the City Council endorse the approval of the Planning Commission and that we move forward to the next steps. I'm happy to answer any of the questions that you have.
Tommy mentioned me by name. I was real clear in November after we went to a work session. You said, well, where does this leave us? In so many words, where do I get your support? And I said, anything in the second level is in play, right? And you brought back a plan that doesn't have anything on the second level. And yes, I supported the plan in January of 13. because I thought the density on top of the 155,000 square foot floor plate met with the MXD zoning. It rose to the level of being able to grant an exception. You've since gone to the marketplace and found out retail can't go on top of a discount superstore. And so that's why I made the comment, anything's in play as it relates to the density in the second story to be consistent with the way I voted in 2013. And all I've heard is a green roof that may be on half of Walmart roof, and the status of that is unclear to me. So I think I've been consistent in where I have been with this project as well as with the fourth plan, and I've staked out pretty clearly why I don't think the exception to the MXD zoning should be granted. And again, I also want to keep drawing back to everyone's attention that the Planning Commission makes recommendations. They don't grant approvals and they don't make policy, they make recommendations to which this City Council is fully entitled to their own opinions to take those recommendations and determine whether or not they were applied for.
And I don't mean to make this a debate, Dave. However, you have a code, and you are charged to follow the code. And I don't think that there is anything in the code, in the MXD section of the code, that would prohibit the footprint of this store. Secondly, there was never an issue for retailers being on top of a Walmart or a discount superstore. The issue was retailers did not want to go on top of any store. They did not want to be on a second level. We had one retailer that agreed to do it. That was it. We couldn't make it work otherwise. So, I understand that the City Council has the discretion to either approve or disapprove the findings of the Planning Commission, and I would just ask that you endorse those findings.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Steve,
Yes.
may I just say, thank you very much, Tom. I supported Tom, and I have most of the time. At one of the meetings in November, I think I was most disappointed, but I appreciate how you come around and work with us. And I really do have a lot of confidence in you, and it was amazing today. I happened to be on Johnson Drive in numerous stores, and they all said, will you call us tonight after the vote because we want to know what's happening. And my comment to them is, what do you want us to do? What would you like to see down there? The general consensus today that I talked to people was, we want something to go. We think this is a good plan. It's not about Walmart. It's just that we want something on that corner. And I think that we need to think about that before we take the time.
Thank you, Susan. Anyone else on council have anything to say?
I'll throw in my 2 cents.
Okay.
I know that we're not here to review, we're not making our decision on Walmart or financing or anything other than whether or not this plan meets the MXD zoning. I've received emails, physical letters here at City Hall, my house, phone calls, voicemails, text messages, and the overwhelming feedback is 95% not supporting this plan. And at the end of the day, you're asking, does it meet the MXD zoning? And I don't believe it does. So I will not be supporting this.
Okay, thanks, Darcy. Please call roll.
Shepherd.
No.
Miller.
Nay.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Cowdery.
Aye.
Kring.
Nay.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Nay.
The vote is split, so Mayor, your vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. And like I say, this is just the beginning, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Thank you, Council.
No. We're going to continue our meeting now. We will continue with our meeting. Councilmember Rothrock, will you provide a report from the Finance and Administration Committee?
Mayor, I have nothing.
Councilmember Quinn, will you provide a report on our Community Development Committee?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Tonight, we're doing my resolution of support for the Bridge Shore Development at 6A. As a component of financing the Herald Corner project, Bridge Shore Development applied for a low-income housing tax credits from the Kansas Housing Resource Corporation during the 2014 and 2015 funding cycles. The project was not funded in either, and the developer plans to submit another application for 2016. Following negotiations between the developer and the city council voted to amend and extend the development purchase agreement to allow Bridge-Shore the opportunity to reapply for the tax credits in 2016. The application is due at the end of January, and as part of the application packet, a resolution of support from the city council and other letters of support are required. Therefore, Mayor, I move that the city council approve the resolution affirming support for proposed 32-unit affordable senior housing project by Bridge-Shore Development, LLC at 7080 Martway Street in the city of Mission, Kansas, and give authority for the mayor and staff to submit letters in support of the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call roll.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Cowdery.
Aye.
Crane.
Nay.
Shepherd.
Aye.
Miller.
Nay.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, that would conclude my report.
We do not have any unfinished business tonight. Does anyone have any new business? Yes?
I know it's belated, and this is January, and we did all this in December, but I would just like to say a heartfelt thanks to everybody in this room, because I think each and every one of you supported our adoption family for Christmas. We had lots of many tears. We had lots of good times, a lot of thank yous, and I don't think you realize how much these people really appreciate all the efforts that everybody went to supply these people with a great Christmas and all the gifts that we gave them. And I can't say enough to Pat and his Kansas City Thunder Riders. I will.
They were wonderful, weren't they?
I have a new appreciation for motorcycles. I will not stick my tongue out of them when they go by. I never have liked them, but they were phenomenal. We could not have done it, but it was wonderful. We had a great afternoon, and my thanks to the fire department, the police department, all the staff. It was great. We had a wonderful time, and I think everybody there enjoyed it. So my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. We look forward to giving you next year.
Thank you, Susan.
Oh, and the Mission Magazine is coming out. I'm working on the 65th anniversary. I hope you all know that Mission is 65 years old this year. So I am looking for somebody who is 65 this year. If anybody, are you 65?
Yeah.
I need somebody who's 65 other than Pat, because he's going to be in the magazine. I need somebody who is married 65 years in 2016
And I need somebody who has lived in Mission 65 years in the year 2016. So if any of you know anybody who has lived here for 65 years, married 65 years, or 65, I wish you would give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great, thank you.
Thanks.
The mayor's report tonight are appointments, and we do have a few to do. So I will get started. Yes, Steve.
We had
Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie, I didn't see
That's
that.
okay. Just a reminder, we have a Ward 3 meeting tomorrow night. Jennifer and I will be co-hosting that at the community center at 7 o'clock. Cookies will be available. Please join us.
Thanks. So I will get started on the appointments. I put before you tonight the names of Kathy and Carl Casey, Celia Dalton, Lynn Crane, Kevin Fullerton, Jose Ramirez, and Karen Laughlin for appointment to the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau with terms expiring December 31st, 2016.
Second?
Or is there a motion? Somebody has a motion.
Mayor, I move that the city council uphold the appointments of Kathy and Carl Casey, Celia Dalton, Lynn Crane, Kevin Fullerton, who's present, Jose Ramirez, and Karen Lawton to the MCVB, or the, what do we call that, the 1105B, with terms expiring December 31st, 2016.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, I put before you tonight the names of Nathan Dormer, Ward 3, Aaron Beaslin, Ward 4, and Jim Sloss, non-resident member, for appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2017.
Mayor, I move the city council uphold the appointments of Nathan Dormer, Aaron Beaslin, and Jim Sloss for appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2017.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. I put before you tonight the names of Terry Ball, Ward 1, David Greenlee, Ward 3, John Arnett, Ward 4, and Paul Paty, Ward 4, for appointment to the Sustainability Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2017. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the city council hold the appointments of Terry Bow, David Greenlee, John Arnett, and Paul Paty to the Sustainability Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2017.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I put before you tonight the names of Karen Capron, Ward 2, Brian Smith, Ward 3, David Schwank, Ward 3, Merle Crabtree, Ward 4, and Jackie Jamison, Ward 4, for appointment to the Tree Board with terms expiring December 31st, 2017.
Mayor, I move the city council uphold the appointments of Karen Capron, Brian Schmidt, David Schwenk, Merrill Crabtree, and Jackie Gamison to the Tree Board with a term expiring December 31st, 2017.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say same sign. I put before you tonight the following for appointment. Donald Chamberlain, SC Treasurer, Keith Drill as Municipal Court Judge, and David Bell, Nathan Owens, and Robert Scott as Municipal Court Judges Pro Tem. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the city council uphold the appointments of Donald Chamlin as city treasurer, Keith Drill as municipal court judge, and David Bell, Nathan Owens, and Robert Scott and municipal court judges pro tem. I think that means as municipal court judges pro tem.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I put before you tonight the following for appointment. Gilmore and Bell as bond counsel, Ellers Incorporated as financial advisor, Lathrop and Gage as land use attorney. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the city council uphold the following appointments with contracts expiring January 18th, 2017. Gilmore and Bell as bond counsel, Ellers Incorporated as financial advisor, Lathrop and Gage as land use attorney.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that does it for that. Next is city administrator's report. Is there one tonight?
I do have just a couple of items, Mayor. When I was looking, I'm sorry, we had a familiar face back, and I think she was out in the lobby, and I'm not sure she came in after the meeting, but Danielle came back to work today, and so we're excited to have her back. I'll have to catch up with her about sneaking out on these council meetings. Just a couple of other items. We've been hard at work planning and starting the planning process for the 2016 farmers market. We were supposed to have an advisory committee meeting this week, and the weather didn't cooperate very well, so we'll get that rescheduled, but look forward to bringing back some information for the new and improved farmers market for 2016. Also, thanks to the public works crews for their work in snow removal this week. I think we're going to get another round this evening, but they do a fantastic job, and we appreciate all they do out there keeping our streets clean.
Thank you, John.
I've had a couple of questions, and it'll be a year next month that the council approved the recommendations of the community center task force last year. And one of the things that we committed to do is to come back to the task force in a year's time and present them with our progress to date. We will be doing that. We haven't landed on a specific date, but we are closing out the current fiscal year, and we also have a couple of exciting new opportunities and projects. And so we will look forward in this first quarter of 2016 and making that report back to the task force and you as well. We will be putting out some information, kind of working cooperatively with the Prairie Village Post and the Northeast Johnson County Chamber to host some legislative breakfasts. The group that has typically done that out of Overland Park discontinued that this year, and so we wanted to give our constituents here in Northeast Johnson County the opportunity to meet with their legislators and have the opportunity for that face-to-face interaction. So we will be hosting on February 13th, March 12th, and April 9th. So more information to follow, but just wanted to let you know that we'll be participating in that effort. Several of you, I think, have received a letter from a resident about a dog park, recommendations for a dog park. The mayor did share that with me today. You may recall that a dog park was one of the issues that floated to the top as part of our parks master plan, and so as we bring that to conclusion, that will certainly be a topic of conversation. So I will share that information with our park master plan consultants as we move that forward. And finally, I think most of you know that filing for city council and our city council election that will occur in April is open, and that filing will be open through noon on the 26th of January, which is next Tuesday. So Mark, the Summerall City Clerk has the packets and the information for that. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there is no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.